Good evening. Welcome to Epiphany Lutheran Church. I'm Kevin Varga, the Director of Music Ministry here in Richmond, Virginia. And this is our Music Minute, where we take a look at the hymns we'll be using in worship tomorrow for the second Sunday in Lent. And we're going to go in order. I know, what is wrong with me? We never do that. So our gathering hymn tomorrow will be The God of Abraham Praise. And a review of this hymn is somewhat humorous. It calls it, quote, a stately pile of architecture, severe and simple in design. It goes on further to say, however, that if you look more closely at this hymn, it becomes more graceful, its dimensions expand, and the mind grows itself just by contemplating this very hymn. The tune was actually a creedal Hebrew formula, which was later turned into a metrical hymn that it was sung. It was originally 13 stanzas. You'll be glad to know that we don't even have all 13 in the hymnal. It's only 8, and we will be singing 6 tomorrow. So this is The God of Abraham Praise. That was a bit more stately interpretation of that. All right, now we're going to move to the new hymnal for the hymn of the day. And All Creation sings, number 1015 is A Mother Comforts Her Child. And this comes to us from 2017, and the ELCA worship team and Augsburg Fortress had convened a retreat for composers. And this is a common thing to do, where you bring composers together, they have focused time, and they're with other composers so that they can really work on their art. Specifically, this retreat was to focus on support of life passage rites of healing, funeral, and marriage. And this comes from a church musician, Brian Wenzel, who wrote this song with a simple 4-note melody. That's all it was. It had a trio of biblical feminine images of God. And that was a comforting mother, which came from Isaiah, a gathering hen, which came from Matthew, and then a wise woman from Proverbs. This was intended as a blessing for the bereaved at a funeral, but if you do a little more introspective look at it, it can really be used in many different settings. So we'll be using it tomorrow in worship as our hymn of the day, as a mother comforts her child. Another relaxing, and it really is just the same thing. We will sing it repeatedly tomorrow. It's more like a refrain. And last but not least, Eternal Lord of Love, Behold Your Church. And this came from the Standing Commission on Church Music in the Episcopal Church. And they asked for new hymns for Lent, and this is what they got. That's what Thomas Kane wrote. Thomas Kane comes to us from Canada. And this hymn, in the words, you'll see a lot of baptismal imagery. There's also talk of the pilgrimage of Lent. And the tune, however, is as old as the words are new. And the tune actually comes from 1562. It's Old 124th, probably something you'll recognize. We have lots of other texts that go with this tune. And we're going to move over to the organ for this. We're going to do a partita, which is variations on this particular tune, and that'll include a theme, and then there'll be a trumpet tune, but it's not a trumpet tune like you normally think of. It's a little more introspective than typical. A trio, and then there'll be a reflection, and it'll end with a pretty big toccata. So this is Eternal Lord of Love, Behold Your Church. hopefully you could find the melody in there several times in different places and different voicings, and that's just a fun version of that. So thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the second Sunday in Lent. If you're coming in person, that's at 8:30 and 11. And if you are joining online, that will be live streamed at 11 on our YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining us tonight. Have a good evening.